And again, we'll wait because we're going to get into it more later. I'm going to get to this Anzalone video because he praised Jack Campbell, which I think, is great. And we're going to also get to what Jack did today because he was a menace. And I have my little Jack Campbell prediction. I'll dive more into it later, but something that I do believe is he's going to be their best linebacker this year. That's something I do believe this season. So let's get to Anzalone commenting on Jack Campbell. Here he is.
Guys sort of going into year 2 now, Jack. You just saw him make plays today. Sort of growth have you seen from him?
Yeah. I mean, nothing drastic, but I think he's built off of what he did, the tail end of the year last year. I think he's obviously more comfortable with the play calls, and going into year 2, you're not as panicky as far as what do I do, and am I doing the right thing? You could play a little bit more of just football, and that's really, I think, as a linebacker, that's the most important thing, is just be able to know what you're doing, like the back of your hand, and just flowing and getting in the game.
Do you sense his comfort?
Jack Campbell.
Man looks stoic up there.
Anzo looks like Thor, dude. Like he's like what's the like those ancient like gods or whatever. Yeah, like a Greek god. It's wild. I wish I had that hair, and I wish I was just like.
Yeah, it's beautiful hair. I mean, it is a good player. I don't want to knock him when I say – I just think Jack Campbell, year 1 to year 2, with everything he learned last year, and to this comment as well, J. Mommy Campbell did finish second in tackles, and you got to think that's with limited snaps. He's going to be an absolute tackling machine. And the thing that you didn't really get to see a lot of last year because it's hard, especially a rookie linebacker who won the Buckets Award, by the way, best linebacker in college football. But him in coverage is something that was his strong suit coming out of college. And you didn't really get to see that last year. I think when the game starts slowing down, that dude's good for a couple picks a year. I mean, he can guard tight ends. He has that type of upside. So I think you're going to see really Jack Campbell on full display this year, and he's only going to get better.
Yeah, I've been all over the Jack Campbell thing. I think I came that one day. I'm looking for my notes right now because I had notes a couple weeks ago and brought all the stats for Jack Campbell about taking that next jump. And I don't even think like for a guy like Alex Anzalone, I think he knows, and he mentioned it multiple times in this interview, like, hey, that's just the evolution of an NFL player that's really, really good, is he's going to continue to get better, and he kind of already has that feeling to where he has that kind of chip on his shoulder, and he's elite at what he does. He has the size, he had the intangibles, everything that comes with it. And he basically, if he would have played as many snaps as Anzo did last year, he would have probably led the team in tackles, essentially. Like I remember we did the math a couple weeks ago, and he would have done that. And that's him playing out of position too, like playing Sam linebacker instead of playing the Mike. So like that wasn't even playing his true position. So I'm interested to see, because Anzo's been out the last couple weeks. I'm interested to see in training camp how they kind of go about the Jack Campbell, Anzalone, Derek Barnes situation. Who's going to be where? Who's going to be? Obviously, Anzalone is going to have the green dot and still doing that, but I think Jack Campbell has the potential. I've said this multiple times, to be a Pro Bowl linebacker in the NFL starting this season. Like I truly do think he can go out there and get 130, 140 tackles if he's in his right position and dominate and kind of get a couple interceptions, get some sacks, and just be an absolute menace on the field. And that's not a bad thing for Anzo, guys. Like that makes your linebacking room that much better and one of the best in the NFL. Mm-hmm. Like it takes you from like what would you say, top 15 linebacking room, a core, maybe to top 7. Like you instantly, if you have a Pro Bowler in Jack Campbell this year, like Anzo could have been a Pro Bowler last year if he didn't get hurt. Like that, put that in perspective a little bit. So you have 2 guys that have that potential, and then a Derek Barnes is your third. I do think he takes that. And today we're going to go over what he did today in practice. He has been like the biggest standout out of everyone. Jack Campbell has.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Are you there,
yeah, and I'm really excited to see, because I do agree with you guys that Jack Campbell is going to have more production, but I kind of feel how you guys do with David Montgomery with Alex Anzalone, just because he is such a formative part of this defense. He is one of the original guys that was brought in this rebuild, and he knows this defense like the back of his hand. And like he said, it's one of the most important things to have during that. So I just think when you bring in DJ Reader, it's almost like a running back getting a really good guard in front of him, because DJ Reader is going to be able to eat up these double teams, and that's going to help out Jack Campbell so much, especially after getting at the quarterback, making plays behind the line of scrimmage. Not only that, but it's going to help him out in coverage too. So Jack Campbell, he is set up for, like you guys would say, have that Pro Bowl caliber type of year.
Yeah, and that's a thing where it's tough, because I do respect Anzalone. I think he's, speaking of a cover linebacker, he improved significantly. And Anzalone's kind of a do-it-all guy, but Jack Campbell, he showed a lot too, being great against the run. You know, I think the coverage stuff, it's not really what he was asked to do, but I think there's a lot of upside there. I mean, just go watch his tape at Iowa. He was all over the place. I mean, he tested athletically off the charts. So his sideline to sideline ability is incredible. And we know what he can do tackling players as well. I mean, the guy's a tackling machine. So yeah, I'm excited to have. He's so lucky to have a guy like Anzalone. That's just so another guy who's selfless. And to your point, Lucas, improved defensive line. Yeah, I mean that's going to help too.
You know what?
When you have guys that can get to the quarterback, it makes things a lot easier.
Do you know what we haven't mentioned yet? And actually, in a little while, Klotz is going to like this. Is like you're sitting there, you're working with Alex Anzalone all day and through the whole offseason, now through training camp, and also you're working with Kelvin Shepard, one of the best in the league at his job. So like he's in such a good spot, and now being like a whole year into this, there were times last year that Alex Anzalone, and then I think a lot of people for a little bit, it was kind of like that Derek Barnes missed sack or missed safety in the Dallas game, to where Derek Barnes was having a decent season, not a great one, but like he was holding his own and he was giving you what you needed, and then he missed that sack in the end zone to force a safety in Dallas, and then everyone was like, "Oh, this guy sucks. Like he should never be a linebacker again for the Lions." And then he had the interception to go to the NFC Championship game, and then I think people's perspective for a little bit with Jack Campbell is he missed a couple tackles early in the season, and everyone's like, "Oh, what happened? Like what's going on with him? Like that's your first round pick." You have to let a guy like that kind of just learn, because to your point, Jeff, like in college, he was one of the best coverage guys. Like he has every single intangible that you need out of a linebacker. He has the size, like he has everything. Like don't let last year, especially early last year when he's playing out of position, determine what like he is to you. Like you can't do that. You cannot let that kind of make your decision on Jack Campbell.